Coming up on UCF Nightly News.
Gun violence has increased drastically in the last few years. We show you what one Florida congressman is doing to curb this issue.
Also, we take a look at a bill that would impact students grade K through 12. A UCF professor shares with us what that bill will do.
Plus, a team of UCF alumni have found a new green way to create everyday products. We take a look into this new initiative.
In sports, we will see how the UCF Knights football team are preparing for their new power conference, the Big 12.
Nightly News starts now. Good afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Leeann Figueroa.
And I'm Ronald Perretti. Today is Friday, April 28th, 2023.
From Pulse nightclub to the Pine Hill shooting that took the life of UCF alumni Dylan Lyons, Orlando is all too familiar with gun violence. A local congressman wants to fight an issue that's not only present here, but across the country. Congressman Maxwell Frost has filed a bill that would tackle gun violence head-on, creating a federal office of gun violence prevention. The Gun Violence Archive says that as of late April, there have been over 160 mass shootings in the U.S. The young congressman says that enough is enough.
Gun violence is the leading cause of death for children, one of the leading cause of deaths for adults in this country, yet has some of the least amount of money going towards it for data and research. I believe that is unacceptable.
The office will focus on reducing gun violence in multiple ways. That includes collecting data, providing resources to local communities, recommending policy to Congress, and teaching people about gun violence prevention. UCF senior Olivia Solomon leads the UCF chapter of March for Our Lives and says that more must be done to prevent these tragedies before they happen.
You can only bulletproof a classroom or a building so much, you can't bulletproof a person. Entire lives have been in education have surrounded mass shootings and gun violence, and that's not how kids should be growing up. And that's why I do what I do, so no one else has to.
If the bill were to pass, it would be the first federal office dedicated to this nationwide issue and would be Frost's first substantial legislation during his time in office. The bill has been referred to the House committee, where it will begin its journey through the U.S. House of Representatives.
LGBTQ rights are at stake as a new bill makes its way across the Florida Senate floor. Senate Bill 1674 is currently in fiscal policy with the Florida Senate and would introduce the Safety in Private Spaces Act. It would require people to use public restrooms that correspond with their assigned birth gender. House Representative Ana Escamani says she believes the bill goes too far.
People should just be able to pee in peace and not worry about big government overlooking their shoulder. The impact of the bill would actually endanger more people, I would say, especially trans people, than actually keep anyone safe.
Representative Escamani says that legislation such as this is a part of a plan by Governor Ron DeSantis to attack marginalized communities on his way to a presidential nomination. Senate Bill 1674 is currently in the Senate. If passed, it will make its way to the governor's desk for signing.
Most students from K through 12 in Florida are likely counting down the days till summer. But that could change if Senate Bill 1564 were to pass, creating a year-round school pilot program. Nightly News reporter Avery Joens has more on what this bill could mean for Florida.
If passed, Senate Bill 1564 would allow school districts to apply for the pilot program. Political science professor at UCF, Aubrey Jewett, tells us more about what this bill would do.
Bottom line is, this is a pilot program, so it's not going to require all schools to do it, but it would allow 5 school districts to try it if they wanted, and then to report back the results to see if the kids did any better, to see if parents on average liked it, to see if it saved money and resources, to see if they were able to sort of manage objections from businesses and about summer vacation and that kind of thing.
Some people believe that year-round schooling would be beneficial to students when it comes to retaining information.
UCF student and substitute teacher Anna Slott says the bill would help reduce the learning loss that takes place over the summer.
The first couple weeks, it's always like the review of like what you learned the year before. And it's like if you had at least half the time, like they get two months of summer, like that's a long period to go without doing anything. And if they were to take at least like a month out of that for more school, or even the whole 2 months, like they would be so much more on pace and be able to actually like get started.
On the other hand, some argue that kids deserve the break they're used to getting over the summer for things such as family vacations. Some people have also argued that the cost of keeping schools open year-round would be too much of a financial burden for the school districts. In Orlando, Avery Joens, UCF Knightly News.
Senate Bill 1564 was unanimously approved by the Appropriations Committee on Education. The bill is now making its way through the Senate.
Another new bill passed through the Florida Senate impacting the Florida Kid Care Program. According to the Institute for Women, more than 1 in 5 college students are raising children while attending school. In a study done by Forbes, the average price of tuition has increased by 179% in the past 20 years. The program now makes it possible for many UCF students to get the support they need.
To get to aid, that's gonna, I think it's gonna help help lessen the pressure of having to find and think about where that money's gonna come from.
Senate Bill 246 will go into effect on July 1st and increases the income threshold by 50%, now totaling 250% of the federal poverty level. It's now possible for a family income of 3 to be as high as $62,000 to be eligible.
Death benefits for active duty servicemen changed, possibly affecting UCF students in ROTC. According to the U.S. Army, if a soldier is killed during their official duties, they would receive $75,000 from the state of Florida. However, if they died outside of that context, then they would only receive $25,000. This bill changes that, ensuring the max will be received regardless.
There's no replacing a lost individual whatsoever. The impact that will have on family is lifelong. But, you know, that type of money doesn't hurt.
According to the U.S. Army, ROTC creates about 70% of officers that enter the Army. At UCF, the program dates back to 1972. Senate Bill 621 will take effect on July 1st, 2023.
UCF researchers have created a new way to heal bone damage using bioabsorbable implants. With the use of magnesium composites, the UCF biomedical team, led by Mehdi Rosavi, is developing rods, pins, screws, and other medical implants that dissolve within the body, terminating the requirement of removing them. The magnesium composite is infused with nanoparticles that are absorbed into the tissue as the implant dissolves.
Mechanically stronger than biopolymers, is very flexible compared to bioceramics. It also is bioabsorbable. So it means that you don't need to do a second surgical procedure to remove them.
Rosavi's research continues to focus on the material for healing bone tissue to reach the first step of testing for humans.
Artificial intelligence has become popular as new programs have emerged over the semester. On April 11th, the United States Commerce Department released an AI accountability policy request in order to regulate new systems. Nightly News reporter Sedaya Keita tells us how this technology is being used on campus.
Intelligence tools such as ChatGPT have become popular among students. ChatGPT is a precise online AI chatbot that can produce directions, blueprints, and statistics in minutes. Will Feigl, UCF freshman, explains that this program has given students a new way to research for their studies.
The uses that I've seen personally, it's a fun and harmless in the right use tool. And I say tool because you really can use it as a tool.
Students are becoming more familiar with AI tools such as ChatGPT. It is here at the L3 Harris Engineering Center where faculty members and students are studying the roots of artificial intelligence. With many questions and concerns about artificial intelligence, UCF has an organization focused on these new tools. Dr. Lotzi Balani, co-director of AI Things Laboratory, studies for applicable ways we can use this technology. He says that the name artificial intelligence is misleading and causes confusion amongst the population. Dr. Balani specifically defines what artificial intelligence is and how we view the programs.
People tended to say artificial intelligence is all kind of computer behaviors, which if a human would do it, you would call it intelligent.
Dr. Balani also says that as more information comes in about artificial intelligence, society will have to decide how to use it. He says that he is in the field of research, not application, so he is unsure of where we will go with AI tools. We will continue to watch this new rise of technology as it continues to grow. In Orlando, Sedaya, Keita, UCF Knightly News.
Other popular AI servers are Viso Suite, Jupyter Notebooks, and Google Cloud AI Platform. AI Things Laboratory will continue to research and host Zoom meetings for UCF throughout the year.
A UCF alumni-led startup had a breakthrough when they started using seaweed to manufacture leather and fibers that are 100% renewable. Their materials serve as an alternative to pollutive ones such as nylon. The startup has just recently moved into a new facility located in Lake Nona. Source CEO and UCF alumni Derek Saltzman says throughout his journey with Source, he and his team have had to pivot a few times. Salzman says they recently...
Coming up, we meet two UCF professors who have recently started their own band. We talk to the professors to learn what sets their band apart from the rest.
Plus, we will learn which Orlando restaurants have been recently rewarded. We will hear from a restaurant owner to see what this achievement means and how it could impact tourism in Central Florida. We'll be right back.
April is Earth Month, and one way Knights are celebrating is by recycling. UCF is competing against USF to recycle the most during the month of April. To participate, you must use the reverse recycling machines located in the Student Union. Yet there are still many other places to recycle across campus. As graduation approaches, campus can be seen littered with tiny pieces of plastic confetti. To help combat that, SGA offers graduates free biodegradable confetti. Earth Month is a time to raise environmental awareness, yet it's still important to care about the planet year-round.
Between demands of having a month designated to cherish the ancient heritage of Arabs, in a category considering Arabs from white in the census, 2023 may be the year that some of these demands are met.
And to be seen as an important part of society, Mayor Jerry Demings of Orange County issued a proclamation declaring April as the Arab American Heritage Month. This comes just 10 days after President Joe Biden proclaimed the month as so.
But we wanted to, see what we could do to empower our Florida community. So it reached out to the Orange County Mayor Demings, and graciously accepted and was well recognized. He came in, delivered the speech.
Earlier this year, President Biden announced a preliminary proposal to add a Middle Eastern and North African category box to the U.S. Census. Data shows that approximately 450 international students at UCF come from the Middle East, with Saudi Arabia leading the number according to the Institutional Knowledge Management. President of the Arab American Student Association at UCF, Giorgio Saya, says he's willing to urge the student government to recognize this month in the UCF calendar. AASA will serve as a liaison between the Arab American Community Center at UCF to reinforce the Arab youth involvement in Central Florida.
Just like the other heritage months are given recognition, I feel like that's something we can push for. It is something new, so it is going to take more awareness and being brought. You need to bring attention to it for people.
Sayer also says that although the Arab community has celebrated its heritage every April, the recognition not only gives them a chance to give back, but it raises awareness as well. In Orlando, Afra Al-Namani, UCF Nightly News.
Multiple Arab American community centers in different cities in Florida are uniting to achieve their goal and make their presence felt.
8 Orlando restaurants have been added to the 2023 Michelin Recommended Culinary Guide. Nightly News reporter Heather Bazley tells us more about what this achievement means for business owners in the industry and how this could spark tourism in the Sunshine State.
Include Doshi, Oto's High Drive, 24 Hours, Juju, Edbuddy, Kaya, Toledo, and Victoria and Alberts. The Michelin Star Guide is assigned a quality based on an objective criteria, including cooking techniques, personality, and more.
Oh, it's kind of like a app that you can use if you want to have a nice dinner or a nice celebration. You can go that. It's something different than the Yelp will show you every restaurant. Here will show you like the best ones.
Many travelers and food tourists now seek out Michelin-recognized restaurants, going out of their way to dine at far-flung locations to endure lengthy lines in order to secure a reservation at these highly ranked places. For many restaurants, gaining recognition from Michelin is a big boost and game changer for local businesses.
Sometimes people like to go out to restaurants and stuff like that. And some of us wear our gear, and when people see it, they congratulate us. Business has picked up a lot. So yeah, it's been awesome. It's been very big.
With Florida's finest flavors continuing to impress inspectors, tourism may continue to pick up.
These restaurant teams are inspired to serve the most delectable cuisine to all food lovers, while striving to make sure everything is up to par before opening their doors to the public representing Orlando.
Over the last decade, tourists have transitioned to seeking cultural experiences where individuals immerse themselves in the cuisine of a culture.
But you taste it in the drinks, you taste it in the food. We don't take any shortcuts. We use the best meat, the best fish. But it's also not pretentious. You're not going to see a lot of smoke and mirrors.
These restaurants are deemed as great and above average meals by traveling Michelin inspectors. This honor showcases local businesses while bringing food lovers to the area in search of fresh, one-of-a-kind cuisines. In Orlando, Heather Bazley, UCF Nightly News.
For now, these establishments are highlighted as new on guide.michelin.com before the entire selection is revealed May 11th.
A pair of English literature professors at UCF started their own band last fall semester. Nightly News reporters Afra Al-Namani tells us more about the Ghost Peppers brand.
The Ghost Peppers band started accidentally when Gosh joined UCF faculty and realized her colleague Meehan plays and sings. To represent the South Asian region, they chose the name the Ghost Peppers because they are native to that area. The band sings in Bengali and English, with hostess sing in Hindi and Spanish in the future.
Eventually we have another number coming up that is in Hindi and / Urdu, so we're going to experiment with a couple of other languages. So it's definitely fusion.
The two professors are heavily inspired by a Nobel Prize winning writer, Rabindranath Tagore, who's considered a major icon in South Asia with over 2,000 collections of songs. Being a daughter of singers, Gosh's family was excited that the first step in her musical career relates to her culture. Meehan says his comparative literature degree enabled him to read across various languages, and that his previous knowledge of Tagore eased the way for him to learn the lyrics.
I know who Tagore is, and that was one of the strong motivators to respond positively to Dr. Ghosh's gambit, saying, you know, I know who Tagore is, and the chance to sing a Tagore lyric and make it our own and actually write a harmony part to go with that.
One challenge Meehan has faced is learning how to enunciate words in Bengali, in addition to finding time between being a professor and a performer. The band has been invited to perform in many events that South Asian interest RSOs at UCF host, like the Bengali Student Association. In Orlando, Afra Al-Namani, UCF Nightly News.
The band usually practices between Melrose Studios or the Koi Pond at UCF. The meditation garden where the Koi Pond is located brings the calmness needed to help the singers perform.
Coming up, we will see what to expect from this year's hurricane season.
Plus, more about the new talent expected to make its way to the football field next year.
Nightly news reporter Heather Bazley joins us now to talk about the weather. Heather, what's the next hurricane season going to look like?
Well, Leeann, first I'd like to take a look back at last year's hurricane season. The 2022 Atlantic hurricane season produced a number of damaging hurricanes, mainly for the Florida Peninsula. The season produced 14 named storms, with 8 becoming hurricanes. Category 4 Hurricane Ian made landfall near Costa Caya, Florida on September 28th, triggering flooding that broke previous Florida records. Hurricane Nicole also made its way to Florida with a strong flow of winds off the Atlantic Ocean, causing massive beach erosion and damages. Climate researchers at North Carolina State University predict that the 2023 hurricane season that runs from June 1st to November 30th will be slightly below average, with 11 to 15 named storms in the Atlantic Basin. Of the predicted storms for this year, 8 to 6 may grow strong enough to become hurricanes, and 2 to 3 become major hurricanes. The areas include the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of Mexico, and the Caribbean Sea. The peak of this hurricane season is predicted to skyrocket from late August through September. The CDC urges people to prepare by planning ahead. That includes writing down emergency phone numbers, preparing an emergency supply kit, locating the nearest shelter, paying attention to the National Weather Service alerts, and more. That's all we have for the weather today. Be sure to prepare early and stay ahead when it comes to hurricane season. Now back to you, Leeann and Ronald.
Up next, we'll hear about UCF football is preparing for their new conference.
Plus, we will learn how the UCF men's soccer team did this past season and how they're looking going forward.
Good afternoon, Knight Nation. I'm Raymond, and here's your weekly UCF sports update. UCF fans, get excited because the Knights are entering this 2023 season with a lot of talent. UCF is welcoming the most four-star players ever, including John Walker and Andrew Harris. The Knights are receiving 11 new transfers. These transfers include 6 from Power 5 programs. The Knights will be looking to pick up a couple more names before they kick off the season in late August against Kent State. The UCF men's soccer team is also back in the fall and says they hope to bounce back after last season. The Knights have been consistent winners since 2018, but last season is different. UCF struggled on the pitch, leading them to a 6-7 finish. One player who personally had a good year was Luca Dorado, as he climbed to UCF's top 8 in all-time scoring. Dorado and the Knights will look to take a good season as they join the Sun Belt Conference in July. The conference is home to last season's #1 seed in Kentucky and should propose a challenge for the Knights. That's all the time I have for sports. Back to you, Leeann and Ronald.
Thanks, Ray. That's all of our time for now.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a great day, guys.